had to be shot.
At the time, there was no stage which would have served both as a tank and big enough to house 3 nuclear-powered submarines.
We tried finding locations where we could find a huge hangar or something.
We looked all over the place for a place to do it.
That's where my decision has to come in, and that's where my decision did come in. We'll have to build the stage in the studio.
I decided not to make the same error, maybe, that I did on You Only Live Twice, when I designed the volcano crater on the back lot of Pinewood. We couldn't leave it standing because from the outside it was an eyesore. So this time I designed the stage around the set.
Now, what will lead you into the set, and which is going to be the submarine? Because remember, that's going to be pretty big in foreground.
Ken Adams' plan was to build the set inside as the outside went up.
I was instructed to document the growth of this extraordinary stage. And I would go up every day or once a week, depending on what kind of dramatic stuff was happening, and I would photograph it.
We were completing the set as they started to put the cover on and do the sides.
I think our major concern as filmmakers was it going to get up?
From the time we started to build the cover, 13 weeks later we shot the set.
The design challenge was really to give that hold of the supertankers an interesting look.
It was, again, you know, a huge collaboration by all the trades to get it done, and the finishes in there were extraordinary.
So they built this huge, which became known as the 007 stage.
One of the chaps that was most interested in seeing how things were progressing was Claude Renoir, the cameraman.
Hold that frame, this one, then turn a little more.
Turn it right.
Right, yes.
Claude Renoir was one of the nicest and most capable directors of photography.
Claude, of course, was the grandson of Renoir the painter. He was one of the great cameramen of the world. I mean, Bardot wouldn't do a picture without him.
What I didn't know is that Claude was having some trouble with his eyesight.
I felt he was very nervous to be catapulted into a gigantic set like the interior of the supertanker, because he'd never had to deal with that sort.
I take him down there and show him this great, enormous set, and he looks at this thing, and I said to Claude, well, tell us what you're going to need here to light this thing. And he said, well, tell you the truth, Bill, I actually can't see the end of the set, so really it doesn't matter what I need because I can't see to the end of it.
Since the dimensions were enormous, I wanted to get another opinion in on how to use my practicals and whether to improve on them and so on.
For that second opinion, Ken Adam turns to legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick.
He said, I must be mad, you know, nobody must know.
Stanley would have done it in an extremely low-key, I'm not here kind of a way.
I will guarantee that nobody will ever know that you came. And I talked him into it.
He did do that and helped enormously.
Stanley came and spent 3 or 4 hours with me on that set.
It was a very difficult set to light, not only because of the vastness, but because of all the shiny surfaces.
I remember he said to Ken, why don't you use floodlights as part of the set lighting? So in effect, you're lighting the set.
The set is a triumph, securing Ken Adam and his team an Academy Award nomination. The 007 stage is launched on December the 5th, 1976, with all the fanfare of an aircraft carrier. Former Prime Minister Sir Harold Wilson performs the ceremony.
I felt a certain amount of pride when all these dignitaries arrived. It was quite exciting, really.
When you actually walk in the set and it's all dressed to film, it is extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary.
It was a wonderful set. and it looked terrific on the screen.
It was bigger inside than it was outside, if you know what I mean. You stood at the end of it, and it was like, wow.
The Spy Who Loved Me premieres July the 7th, 1977. 7777 proves to be a very lucky date for James Bond and for the sole producer of the James Bond films, Albert R. Cubby Broccoli.
The success of Spy was important.
It was Cubby's first film as the sole producer of the Bond movies. We all knew it was going to be one of the greatest films.
The film's worldwide success proves once and for all that nobody does it better.